Welcome to Texas Tea with Eastwood Energy. I have today on the show Brent. He has stopped by from Investar Real Estate Services, right? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, Investar Real Estate Services. Yeah.
You put the emphasis on the star, or?
We do. We like that. We incorporated it into the logo and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
Stand apart a little bit.
Stand apart. I mean, stars shine, right? And,
That's right.
And I've seen nothing but shining moments with Brent. So I'm glad he's stopped by today at the office. We are very empty here. We have this nice table in the middle to make it look official. So glad to have you guys back over here. So Brent, Investar, obviously full service property management.
That's right.
A little bit of a broker. Actually, Brent has been Eastwood's broker, got us this fine space, so we're very excited about that. Real quick, before we go into kind of the past and everything, what would you say the greatest value you bring to your customers, your land and also building owners?
I'd just say that we bring a professional touch to managing other people's properties.
Okay.
A lot of our clients are busy doing other things, but commercial real estate, you need to act quickly.
Yeah.
And so we provide them. We're their hands and eyes and ears while they're actually doing other things.
Okay, I got you. So you're saying one of the most important parts of property management is quickness?
Yes, response.
Okay.
And adequate and the correct response. Yeah.
I'm going to make a real dad joke right here.
Okay.
So you say that Investar is as quick as a shooting star?
Yeah, there you go.
That's
a
bad.
Great. That's a good.
That's really bad. I'm sorry, guys. That's the worst dad joke I've said in a long time. But Investar in 1993 is when it started, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Jim Bain and Jack Freelou broke off. They had worked together at other real estate companies, kind of liked the way each other worked. They founded Investar, much like you did Eastwood. Got an idea, got a belief, and they had a couple clients that came with them.
Okay.
To get things going.
Got you.
But the last 25 plus years, we've just kind of been, building it day by day.
Okay.
Jack has since passed, but we've kind of carried on what he started since that.
I got you. So how, from the time it started in 93 to now, that book of clientele that came, how much has it grown?
Oh gosh. It's hard to say because I haven't seen financials from back then and all, but the book of clients, I mean, we still have clients from back then, original clients of Jack and Jim's. We've remained or maintained that relationship and added to it. But we've added so many more. I would say it's, hundreds of percents the growth over that time, and we're still growing, still taking on new clients, but still doing a great job for the ones that we have, and keeping in mind that they are the lifeblood of what we do. We don't exist without them.
So you add on the building blocks and really continue to water the current plants that you have.
That's right.
I got you. That's pretty awesome. So Houston, San Antonio as well. Other markets aside from those two?
We do have a couple properties in the Austin market.
Okay.
And we haven't broken into the Dallas market yet, but hope to. It's a logical growth path there. But
makes sense.
But yeah, right now we've got a great office in San Antonio, great manager and staff over there. And actually this quarter we'll take on another 3 properties over there, just in the past, just in Q3.
So. Growing into San Antonio. So obviously San Antonio is a remote office. I know this is kind of an out of left field question. Notice that the majority of upper management is in the Houston office. If you were to give a company that has satellite offices or looking to have satellite offices, like a piece of advice to make sure that office runs well, to par with how the standard of an Investar, what would be a couple of things of advice that you would give someone?
You know, I think that the most important thing there is you hire character and train skill.
Hire character and train skill.
With the right people in place, you can do, if you're aligned as far as core values and who you are and who you want to represent you as a company, the other things, they kind of learn how you want things and it means something to them, and they do it.
I got you.
If that's not the case, I see it as a high risk that it's not going to go as anybody really wants it to. And that's what we made a mistake there in the past. We learned from that, and the person that we have in our San Antonio office has been with us for over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And is part of the family.
That's good.
They do a great job. So
that's a key thing I hear a lot with companies that do have a good, very close-knit amount of office or employees is family. That seems to be a very close term.
Yeah, and that is really, I think, as far as I think that culture in a company is so important, so that people don't feel like we all have to go to work,
right?
You know,
of course.
But liking the people you're working with, doing right by them, and going the extra mile when or where it is you can, or it's required. When you like somebody, it doesn't seem to bother you as much or whatever, you know. And
so is that why you put up with me so much?
Yeah, but I think that I can say it, but I've heard it from our employees.
Right.
Our culture it's one of family. When our employees need something, we certainly try to do something to attend to that need.
Yeah.
But keeping it relaxed, keeping it keeping it flowing and fresh. We try to bring that to otherwise sort of monotonous industry. You repeat the cycle. It's wash, rinse, repeat month after month.
Right.
So
no, that makes sense. So it seems that to work a remote office pretty well, or in general in hiring, as you said, you want to hire on character, train skill, and keep a very fun culture that people are looking forward to come to. So at the very least, in the toughest of times, they can at least tolerate the situation.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in a remote office, you're not going to be there all the time.
Right.
So that character is even more pronounced, I think, in that remote office than somebody who's sitting,
So you really need a ride or die.
Yeah.
Got you.
That's right.
Got you. Okay. So who's your manager in
Diana.
Diana.
Yes.
Diana.
I'm not going to say the last name so that we don't have any poachers.
All right. So Diana, unknown last name, Investar, ride or die, a true star.
That's right.
Of
she
Investar.
Is.
Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to Diana. So obviously we took a little bit of a turn there. Property management is y'all's obvious specialty. In the Houston market, what would you say is, obviously each market is different. Let's say I'm an investor from out of state and I want to find a property in Houston. I have a few $1 million looking to invest, maybe $3 to $5 million. Right. What would that process look like in Houston? What would you be looking for them, and even if they don't come on board, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think that, again, something that differentiates us in as far as representation, or someone who's looking for us to help them with that, with placing those monies, is that we're not we're not acquisition oriented. We're more relationship based. So whereas somebody can come in and say, hey, I got a great deal for you, give me that 4 and we'll get you financed on the rest, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then they're off. That relationship or that life cycle of that deal is over for them. For us, it's a little different because typically we manage it and lease it as well. So we have to take a bit of a longer term horizon and view of it, and make sure that bears fruit for them.
Okay.
It's our blood, sweat, and tears that gets that for them. So, but typically that, and that is a typical scenario for us. We will look at literally, out of 100 deals that you look at, you might find 2 that are really worth, taking an additional step on.
So you're basically, someone comes to you who's new, you're looking at it from a more broad spectrum, long-term view where you want to get the absolute, it's not as much quickness as it is finding the right long-term play for them and with you working for them.
Yeah. If they make money, which is everyone's goal, then they're going to be good. And I think that it creates wealth for them, but it leads to other opportunities for us. And it's proof of concept to them.
Yeah.
So we are very careful with that. And I think we've got an outstanding track record. Jim Bain, my partner, is...
I've never met, by the way.
Oh, really?
I've been in, how many times I've been in that office and he's just a ghost?
He's busy. He's a busy guy. And a lot of times, I mean, he is doing what we're talking about of, just mining for something for a client, or putting out a fire on something that has been that's in process. But yeah, we can help find it. So identify it. We can help, them identify lenders. We can help, basically the entire life cycle from acquisition to disposition. We can help in. Maybe we don't do it all in-house, but we have relationships with third parties and stuff that can, yourself included, bundling contracts and getting them better deals on things that make their property more marketable to tenants.
So, in short, you're a turnkey.
Yeah, full
solution.
Service. That's what it is.
Full service. So anyone out there not in Texas or in Texas looking for a turnkey solution to invest their money into commercial real estate, Investar is the way to go.
That's right.
93, obviously, when it started, I think I've said that 3 times now, but for you, when did you come into play into Investar, Brent?
So I started at Investar in January of 2005.
Okay.
I had just finished up my MBA at the University of Houston. Go
Cougars.
And
said that twice now.
Yeah. And so, I got in. I did not have experience in this industry. I came from a management background elsewhere. And Jack Freelou was sort of who trained me in the ways of doing things, and he was a great mentor and showed me that. But I've been here now; it'll be 15 years.
Wow.
And I'm a believer in the culture, and have come to help create and renew that culture in the 15 years I've been here.
Yeah, every time I've been in the office, I'd have to say the girls seem beyond happy. It's a great time. I mean, usually I'm bringing food, so that makes it a little bit easier. That makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, I think from what I've seen, I've always seen you kind of the head of a really successful office, working with the girls and yourself there. Everything's super quick, seamless. So I can't imagine how good it is for your clientele. So.
Yeah, and just a shout out to them. They really do make the difference for us. I mean, there's for a vendor to say that, for clients to say that, that is really high praise and something that we strive for. And so to hear that makes me happy.
So it sounds like if I were to ask one word to sum up how you've been successful within the office, it would be
people.
All right, people, culture.
The right ones make it so easy and so enjoyable, and the wrong ones, it's just not worth it, man. Life's too short. So you gotta guard that, and you gotta definitely foster that.
We're in the office, for us, sometimes 10, 12 hours.
Yeah. So
if it's not with people you want to be working with, why are you there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So I have to fire everyone and rehire because I hate everyone at Eastwood. No, I'm kidding, guys. I love each and every one of you.
Memo from HR.
Yeah. But anyways, aside from company strategy internally, let's say someone's watching this who's looking to become a commercial broker or in property management, like yourself, coming out of college 2005 with a master's or with a bachelor's, but sees a lot of potential. Obviously, it's growing over here. How should, I mean, this has got to be daunting. Where should they start? How should they start? What would be some good advice for a budding commercial real estate agent or budding commercial property manager?
You know, I would say make sure you're learning from somebody who knows what they're doing and that
so find a good mentor.
You know, it's important. I know in your industry as well. That's that's a buzzword.
I know you've seen the bad side of that.
and so, you know, you're building it. You know, you're building it brick by brick. So getting the right foundation is important. Once you find that, you know, just getting into it, rolling the sleeves up, and not being afraid to do those things that really they are sort of monotonous month after month. But you know, putting processes in place and things like that can help. So you're not starting at one every single month. You know, is important. But starting out, yes, I would say the most important thing is make sure you're learning from someone who's very reputable and is going to give you sage advice. And then just getting after
always
it.
Be willing to ask questions.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, definitely.
And I heard a key thing you said there, not starting from one every month.
Yeah.
So would you say that means don't slack off when times are good?
Yeah, and on a monotonous or a, you know, it's a cycle you repeat 12 times in a year. And you know, there are personalities and there are realities that exist that come out of the woodwork over time. So planning for those things and saying, okay, I already know that
just assuming there's going to be a disaster.
So you sort of, you know, you're reminding yourself, you're putting things in place to automate some of the reminders, to automate some of the processes, so that you're not literally having to touch every piece of work. That's something that, you know, with a repeated process thing, like we have, it does make a difference.
Oh, I'm sure. And I know for a fact when I come to your office, I see your fire truck parked out there for all the fires you're putting out continuously. Dad joke number 2. You're welcome, guys. So
those things pop up, and there's you know, there's really not a lot you can do to plan for someone's space flooding in Harvey.
Right, of course.
You don't know where it's going to happen, and you're in that case, we were, you know, we couldn't get to it in some cases for days.
But through experience, you at least know what to do, and the other things you already have in process. So
that's right.
Certain things are already done, and then you can deal with the obvious emergency.
Yeah, and in those emergencies, it's not always physical. It's, you know, hey, I really need you to do this right now.
Right.
And so, you know, those things just pop up, and you just, like you said, jump in the fire truck. Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome. Well, that's good. Okay, so good. That's good advice for budding potential brokers. I know obviously you don't want to give your competition too much. I kind of wanted to hear, what's the craziest, so you have a lot of tenants, a lot of building owners that you work with. Craziest story you've ever had where you're just like, what the hell is going on right now? I'll give you a minute to think.
Okay. Gosh.
You don't have to tell them by name. We don't want to roast anyone.
I mean, you know, hurricanes are as an
right,
act of God are pretty crazy, and you see and hear a lot of different stuff. I guess we've had a couple sorry, you might have to cut that. I was going to go into something, but I'm not going to go there.
No, I'm going to leave this because I want to see that look on your face. So don't go into that one.
Gosh, I'm stumbling on that.
No, it's cool. If you think of something, we'll come back to it. But I just figured there's probably some crazy thing where you got a call at some point and you're just like, is there 3 different deer inside this space? Something insane where you're just like, this makes no sense. What happened here? But yeah, if you think about it, no worries. Obviously, this podcast is not perfect.
Yeah.
So, anyways, other thing I was thinking about is like, there's so many property management companies around here. Not to give too much to your competitors, but maybe someone's watching who's did something the same as Jim, broke off, started their own thing, looking to cultivate the current relationships they have. Some things that you guys do on a daily basis. Like, what are some things that your team's doing on a daily basis that is really bringing added value to your customers?
For us, we try to operate the properties as though they're ours.
Okay.
Although we always keep in mind they're not.
Right, of course.
There are clients that want us to get it right up to the point of decision, and some that even say, hey, let me know how it goes, what you do. I trust you.
Yeah.
And others that want to be apprised of each and every step along the way.
Yeah.
So, you're managing personalities and different demands on that. But as far as starting out, I think you're in a relationship business, not a real estate business. Starting out, I would say personalized attention is probably key.
Right.
And letting people know that you've got them every step of the way.
Right.
If they took a chance on you versus going with somebody.
And you mentioned that you want to treat them as if they're your own properties. Would it be fair to say that having it so that they don't need to worry about the day-to-day, almost as if they're hands-off, maybe? Absolutely.
If you're a third-party manager like we are, that really is the relationship, the expectation. If you know the personality, or if somebody is more concerned, more hands-on with things, you might have more conversations with them. But I think the expectation is, I've hired you. You got this. You've got the ball. You're running with it.
Yeah.
You might stop and ask, do you want to go this way, that way?
Yeah.
But it's your you're kind of taking that thing and running with it. So,
no, it's the same exact with us. We want to make sure that they have zero worries.
Yeah. Whenever good thing, with you, I've heard a lot about how, it's always more efficient to just ride with the market. And that might be that's certainly
not this summer.
Well, that's where I was going. Like, for us, I mean, if we were floating with the market this summer, we would have gotten some huge bills. I mean, the usage we have, and while people can question decisions that you've made, we are acting in what we feel like is our client's best interest. And in this summer, and the spike in electricity prices on the grid is a good example of why we have relationships with folks like you, so that we guard against that.
And it was clear. I remember, of course, Eric Haggerton of Eastwood takes care of the Investar account. But as in those discussions, we talked about the potential of taking a look at maybe floating the market some, trying to get some wins for your client. But at the end of the day, risk management for your clients is a huge thing. And you really got to make sure that they don't have such crazy variance in their day-to-day or month to month.
With our industry, boring is good, because if each month looks very similar in expenses and revenues, and this stuff is based on best guess as far as what the contracts say and stuff. But if your expenses run at $5,000 a month after month after month after month, you're definitely managing that.
Right.
And if you can manage the revenue, that owner is like, this is more like a CD than owning a complex asset.
Right.
So fixing energy costs, fixing and keeping low your other expenses, it plays into that strategy of delivering that value. If we have some losses in tenants or whatever, revenues didn't come down, but you put some more people back in there and just try to keep that going, so they know, hey, every month I should be getting 10 on a bad month to 15,000 on a good month, and you deliver that.
So from what I'm hearing, then probably the biggest value you can bring to a client on a year-by-year basis is predictability in cost, predictability in revenue, such that they almost are. What was that called? Mailbox money.
Yeah,
where it's just a continuous check that they have.
And I mean, we've had properties where they have been. We manage a lot of retail shopping centers, and retail is changing. Yeah, it has changed rapidly over the past 5-10 years.
So since the 15 years, what are the biggest changes in retail? Because this is interesting to me, because you got Amazon coming on board. Almost everything's moving online. Big box retail is really starting to really hit a rough patch. What are the biggest changes you've seen on your side? 15 years retail.
I think that the economy has just moved more toward service-oriented businesses for our centers. You look at things that are more internet-proof than recession-proof. Really, I mean, recessions are always a concern.
Like a restaurant.
You have to physically go there to get the food. Well.
That's true.
That's changed. So, and I mean, we've heard from a lot of our restaurants how much that has impacted them. The revenue is still there, but their costs have increased because they're now paying DoorDash or whoever it is to take the food.
Gotcha.
So, there are those factors, and of course, where your expenses increase. Can they sustain that rent, the profitability? Right. So, I think old paradigms are being challenged, and I think that for retail shopping centers, unanchored retail shopping centers, like we sort of have the most of, I guess, our bread and butter asset. You really try to put tenants in there that the customer has to physically go there to do it. There's still going to be, insurance offices, but I think that's being challenged. I think banking is being challenged with the advent of everything there too.
So let's say someone wants to start a brick and mortar retail company. What do you think is next 2-3 decades internet proof? What do you think is the most reliable brick and mortar retail space that you've seen?
Well, restaurants, just the physical. We all
environment. Everyone
want and are going to eat, especially here in Houston. We do probably do
continuous
more of it
queso chips.
Yeah, queso gets cold being delivered. So you want it from the source. But
so you hear that? Tex-Mex, way to go. Queso, internet
there
proof.
It is. Hey, if we just stop at Tex-Mex, I think we're good. Just Tex-Mex proliferation. Let's just do that.
Tex-Mex, internet proof. All right, got it. So, all right. So that's it from Brent on that side. Retail, if you want to go into a company, Tex-Mex restaurant. So that's going to be your whole portfolio soon.
Yeah, I would say sushi would be a good. You probably don't want that riding around in a car for too long.
Ooh, yeah.
But seriously though, you really want places that, I mean, things that you literally cannot or would not want to buy on the internet.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. They were talking about grocery stores deliveries, right? At what point do you really want someone coming into your house and putting it in your fridge? And how where's the quality control on spoilage and stuff like that? So I'm curious to see how that happens in the future. But I think we're going a little slightly off topic. Thank you for that. So one thing I'm going to slightly plug electricity-wise. So I believe Boxer Properties, and I'm not bad-mouthing Boxer in any way. Boxer Properties is on a fully, from what I understand, I heard this, I don't know if this is true, I think they're on a fully floating index plan for most of their properties.
Oh, wow.
So obviously, in your view, most property management companies then should probably have a fixed or multi-shot fixed product, huh?
I think so. In the case of, we've talked about this before. I'm not all that familiar with Boxer's operations, but what I have heard is that they own a lot of their own assets, and a lot of it is office buildings.
Right.
Office buildings, the paradigm within office buildings, especially older assets, is that you pay rent. No, on those you do not.
Oh yeah.
The landlord pays for that.
Right.
So obviously they felt strongly to be floating with the market.
Right.
I don't know if they've converted some of those to triple net leases and all, but if they did, those tenants are not going to be happy this year whenever they get their reconciliation. If they were floating this summer.
And for those listening that don't know, commercial real estate terms, triple net is essentially passing through the majority of the cost, right?
That's
in addition to the baseline rent.
That's right.
Okay. What's the term for everything included again?
Triple net is your common area maintenance.
What's the term for when rent includes everything?
Oh, gross. It's a gross lease.
Gross lease.
You pay one fixed gross amount, and that's it.
Gotcha.
So
see, I know you've told me this multiple times. Very, very interesting. You think about that story at all? Any crazy story now?
God,
no roasting of anyone. I always do that to my partner Brad. No roasting.
We've had a couple times where we've had like a crazy. I'm trying to remember the exact situation. We had a tenant that was doing something illegal within a space. Can
they divulge that or no?
Yeah, they said they were operating, I don't know, some type of general use office, but
use office. That sounds very legitimate.
Massage
okay,
this happened over on Richmond, and so we got a call from our maintenance guy saying that the police were there.
Yeah.
And the news, like Channel 2 News, somebody was out there. And we told them, hey, listen, keep a low profile, get back to your car, get out of there. And about that time, somebody had turned on the news or whatever in the office.
Oh, wow.
And
I think
we see our maintenance man like on the phone, like looking. We're like, get out of there. And we see him on TV like, okay, yeah. You're like,
that's funny. So illegal act. That's an interesting thing, because I bet there's obviously other industries, obviously before when poker was poker and gambling in general.
That's a big one right now.
Yeah.
Big one. I mean, you play poker, right?
Yeah, of course.
And what is it? The one on Westheimer that got shut down.
I heard about that.
Prime Social, I believe.
No.
We're not talking bad about them. But they got shut down for something.
Right.
I don't even know what, but I heard through the grapevine, that they got shut down for something that they shouldn't have been, and they're coming back. And they reopened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, but there's that use is one that's like, I think a lot of landlords and even ourselves, we're a little leery of, just because we don't fully understand how all the legalities that are involved. Because I think that on that use, the house can't profit from the gambling, I believe.
Not to go into it too much, but basically from what I understand, there's now a way within Texas law that membership fees and paying time for the seat, something like that.
That's what.
But this is an interesting topic, because let's say you're a property manager, you assume that something normal is going to be going on in your suite, but then you find out at some point that it is something illegal. Is there something in the lease? How do you handle that?
Well, within the leases, it typically will state they are going to use the space for the permitted use, which is, you know, in that lease's case, an office, an insurance office, whatever it was, and for no other use whatsoever. And they agree that they will abide by all local rules, laws, regulations, etc. And then it'll go further into, if you don't do that, that's a default in the lease, and then spell out remedies that the landlord has. So typically that's giving notice for them to correct. And if you're you know, doing something illegal, usually they're just gonna vacate.
I got you. So that's a risk. I mean, obviously, when this law was new for these poker rooms, there's a risk for the landlord.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's and that's why you try to vet your tenant as much as possible. You try to get, you know, as much personal liability from them as possible, so that there's you got some skin in the game from them, so that if they do have bad intentions, they should feel something from that, you know?
No, I understand that. That's very interesting. And you obviously vet all your tenants for your clients. Very heavy.
And again, landlord has the ultimate say in that.
Right.
You know, sometimes,
so you bring it to their attention.
They're like, hey, let's do it. And you do it.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Right. So plans for Investar. I know you guys are continuing to go through the acquisition route. When do you think the timeline is for Dallas? When are you coming into Dallas?
You know, all of our growth is based on client acquisitions and relationships. And we don't, you know, I've been asked, what's your marketing budget? We don't have one. We don't sponsor. We might sponsor a kid's baseball team or something like that. But we're not, you know, you're not going to see our signs up all over the place, or radio ads, or what have you. You know, we will basically grow at the speed of our clients, or as fast as they allow us to, by making introductions and stuff like that to other folks. I don't think we try to be everything to everyone. We kind of we understand that taking on a new client requires what we've provided for our other clients, and so you're trying to marry that, and so that you don't overpromise and underdeliver. So as far as Dallas goes, we have relationships there. We just
you're unwilling to grow too quickly where you're taken away from.
Some companies might say, hey, I want to be in Dallas. I'm going to go put up a billboard or buy an ad, and, you know, or set up an office and wait for it to come. That's just not, you know, our way of doing things. We'll get there. One day. And, but we're not going to go up there and shake the bushes, so to speak. Or, you know, we try not to step on somebody else to profit. You know what I mean? I understand. We're not perfect. And so, you know, you try, I guess the term is stay in your lane. You know, we're
Yeah.
We're going to stay in our lane. We're going to worry about ourselves, do the things that we can control.
Yeah.
And
I'm very bad at that. I've been told that I don't know how to use the turning signal. So
hey, welcome to the club.
Well, I think the only other thing I really wanted to kind of ask of you is if you're a new, once again going back to a new property management company, and you are trying to aggressively expand, and you want to expand in the way that you're bringing new investors into Texas, what state have you seen has the most incoming money into Texas? Where should they start? Who should they look for out of state to try to bring in out of state money into Texas?
For me,
yeah,
that state would be California. I just think that you've had a lot of wealth created by the real estate, the value run up in California over the past 15 years or so.
Right.
And people look at, you're doing in real estate, you can defer the taxes by doing a 1031 exchange. That's a tax loophole that's been exploited by, I think it came around in the 80s. It was a huge change that allowed people to create more wealth, because you defer the taxes on everything. So when they looked at reinvesting that money, what you could get in California versus what you could get here, there was a great disparity,
right?
To the extent, and now with not down in California or anything, but we'll just say that Texas.
No one in Texas would ever talk shit about California ever.
Never. But the current state here, economically, and the climate for business. I mean, we've actually had a client move away from California and relocate here just for that alone, just so the taxes.
He or she really liked humidity then.
Yeah,
big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Oh, they still visit frequently, but just under the threshold for to be considered a resident.
Right. Yeah, because I got to be a resident. Yeah, that makes sense. So someone who has a new property management company or looking to be a competition to Investar, seems that California is the best way to try to find new wealth that you can bring in. And if you were to cold call someone in California and you knew someone had a lot of money in the vest, and aside from saying, "Hey, I'm Brent, I'm the best," what would be a key line or key value that someone could weave in on that, would you say?
If I was to go, first of all, because your chances of cold calling somebody that owns commercial property, that's kind of why it doesn't work, is because there's not a ton of people that own commercial.
Yeah, so sorry, let me reiterate or change that rephrase that. You're calling on, there's someone who's got money to invest in Cali coming into Texas. It sounded like it was very tax-based, but what would you be like, hey, look, this is what I can get you. This is the return I can get you, or so on and so forth.
All that is so predicated on the asset class, and,
right.
You're looking at cap rates and everything. But I would say probably the easiest comparison is if the property in California has an NOI of $100,000 and the property here has an NOI of $100,000. Here, so you're going to keep
NOI
net operating income. Okay. That is basically the gross profit of the property before debt payments and stuff like that. So, but I mean, they're just going to keep more of that by investing here, because you're not. I mean, California is almost bankrupt, if they're not already. I think they're pretty much the Walking Dead. So
the Walking Dead. I've heard that eventually it's just going to fall into the ocean. So, so basically, you call someone in New York, in California, and essentially the biggest value to come invest here in the great state of Texas would be keep more of your money, keep more of the money you make.
That's right.
All right. So on that, of course, Investar will continue to help their clients keep as much of the profit as possible. My star guest of Investar, Brent, good friend, sadly a Dolphins fan, but I'm a Jets fan, so we're both always sharing that misery. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Roger.
Thank you for tolerating our very two ferns-esque between two ferns.
I love the space. I love the space.
And I'm Roger Dupre, of course, with Eastwood Energy. This is Texas Tea, and remember to be someone.